Are we rolling? Yeah, you guys are rolling. Yeah, all right, I have to take a deep breath. Deep breath in. Audible exhale. I'm breathing on your mic, dude.
It's okay.
Look how chill this dude is.
I was listening to you. I was doing all your. I thought I was taking your shit as commands.
Oh, we were going. He was going for it.
I was taking what you were saying as commands.
I wasn't commanding. I was talking to myself. It gets confusing with me because I'll be saying something to imaginary people that don't exist, and then she'll be like, "Well," and then I'll be like, "I wasn't talking to you."
No, I get it. And
that's what's like living with me, right? We're rolling. This is rolling. Yeah. Hi, this is episode 5. Are we on 5? Episode 5 of my podcast, SUPcast. Cue the music. Then we do the intro thing. Yeah, we're rocking.
Yeah. Is that how the music goes?
It goes. I don't know how it goes. Episode 5. We got Wax here.
What's up, Neil?
What's up, Wax?
Chilling.
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
I want to tell a story, but first, let's tell the audience who is Wax. What is a Wax?
Wax is a rapper, singer, songwriter. I used to be a band leader when I first met you. I don't know if I would have called myself a band leader back then, but I think I kind of was the leader of the band in the musical sense.
It was less of a democracy. Like were you a benevolent leader?
I would actually. I mean, if it was, I was a benevolent leader.
Yeah. So you would listen to the suggestions of the other band.
Yeah, leaders? It was really more of a democracy. But I would say that the drummer Frazier, who you know,
of course,
he was the business leader for sure.
Okay.
And I think just looking back on it, I might have been the leader in terms of the songwriting leader.
Okay.
I might have been kind of the main guy, but we all wrote everything, and we all, back in those days, we all did everything,
The benevolent leader of McGregor, the ex-benevolent leader.
And now it's funny that I called myself the leader of it. I've never. That band hasn't been a band in 15 years. I never called myself the leader of it.
We are here with the former benevolent leader of the musical group known as McGregor, also known as Wax.
Yeah, so I do music, and I've been doing music for a really long time. And
what's that like?
It's good, man. It's good. It's good for your heart and soul, and you would know.
Yeah, it's been great for me. No, it's okay. No, I got to do a bunch of really cool shit recently, which is nice. And yeah, I just ate a bunch of food, so my brain is working a little slow right now. We're gonna have to ease into this.
Okay.
But we're here with Wax. My name's Neil Patterson. This is SUPcast, and we're here for episode 5. We're in Wax's crib, and this is fucking dope because normally we do this show. We got a little interface that goes into a MacBook, and we do the audio through GarageBand because we're new. We're learning this shit, but we're here in an actual studio. And what program is this? This is Pro Tools?
Pro Tools.
Dude, we're going through fucking Pro Tools. Episode 5.
Through Pro Tools.
Episode 5, and we're already through a Pro Tools rig.
Most podcasts it takes at least like 20 episodes to get to Pro Tools.
Dude,
so you're getting places fast with this one.
What's funny is in episode 6 is going to be probably in my van, and it's going to be through GarageBand.
Right. No, you're not even going to have GarageBand. It's going to go back to just you're going to break your phone. You're going to go back to just like.
Don't say that.
It's your next podcast is going to be written on a piece of notebook paper.
Don't jinx me, man. So I told you I wanted to tell a story because we met in 2003, and I kind of want to go into a short story about how we met.
16 years ago. Damn, man.
Is that the math?
That is the math. Fuck. 2019 minus 2003 equals 16.
That's a long time. But I want to I have to tell the story because I don't think I've ever told you this story. So I'm going to tell you it now while we're recording shit into a microphone. The story goes like this. the Shelter in Detroit, you know, the famous venue.
Of course, played there many times.
Yeah, so the Shelter in Detroit, when we got our first gig there, I'm in a band called Downtown Brown. Still am in a band.
Yes.
We're a band. We write music and we say silly shit and we have a good time. But I remember like when we got our first gig at the Shelter, I jumped up and down because to me that was like when your microcosm of the world is like your hometown. Like something like that could be considered, especially when you're like 19, 20 years old, it could be considered a success. Like getting invited to our first, open up for our first national band at the Shelters, because the promoters saw that we were like pushing shit really hard and that we were actually serious about bringing people, because it's all about, you know,
of course.
Can you bring asses to the venue? They saw
course.
that we were bringing asses. So they're like, will you open for this band? And then so after that show went well, they started asking us to do more shit. And I remember I hit up, before it was Live Nation, it was like Clear Channel. It's always been kind of corporately run.
Right.
For a long while. But I remember we were like, Two Skinny Jays was coming to town. I'm like, I know those guys from 1998. I had their CD and I used to drive around and smoke pot and listen to Two Skinny Jays. And I was like, we're going to fucking open for those guys. We got like St. Andrews Hall, the Shelter was like, yeah, you guys are cool. Open for the show or whatever and get another band. So we got another band. So it was a 3-band bill. It was a 3-band bill. So I'm walking around Detroit and I remember I recently quit my job and I was really fat at the time because
you were bigger then.
I had it in my head that if I just quit my job and put everything into this music thing, that I'll eventually, are you okay? I'll eventually, you know, something will come of it. I had it in my mind because I'd watch all those behind the musics and they're talking about this person had the drive, they had the know-how, they had the skill, and they just put in the work, man. And I'm like, I'm gonna be that guy.
Because they don't have an episode, they don't have a show that's behind the people who didn't make it in music, which would be 40,000 episodes of people that worked just as hard, tried just as hard, quit their job the same, but didn't fucking make it.
And one day I'm gonna
not saying you didn't make it. I'm saying that fucking, you know what I'm saying.
One day I'm gonna be on that motherfucking show. But
that should be a show we do.
Behind the music. You know, it's like the Neil Patterson story. But anyway, so here I was like completely determined. I'm like, all right, you know, we're gonna make this Two Skinny Jays show the shit. So I remember the girl I was dating at the time lived in Detroit, and she went off to do her work. She's a yoga instructor. She went off and do her yoga instructor thing. And I remember I on foot, I walked around Wayne State University campus, which is the college in Midtown Detroit, and I put Two Skinny Jays flyers on every single telephone pole. And I'm like, this show's gonna be sick. This is our second or third show at the Shelter, man. We're gonna show these guys that we can draw a crowd, and we're gonna fucking blow everyone away that is coming to see Two Skinny Jays, and yada yada. I just remember being like really determined and pumped up about that gig. And then so it comes gig time. It comes the day of the gig, and we roll up there. And I remember we were going to be direct support for Two Skinny Jays. Two Skinny Jays, regionally, at least in the Detroit area, I don't even think they were that popular of a band. I think they're more of an East Coast thing.
It wasn't a crazy amount of people at the show.
No, fuck no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Detroit...
I remember the shit out of that show.
Detroit's fickle.
This I didn't know. I mean, I think I see where you're going. Continue, though.
But so anyway, we show up, and then there's Two Skinny Jays, and then there's, who the fuck are these guys? And I'm like, I just fucking was walking around Detroit for the last 3 weeks trying to get everyone to come to the show, and these guys are going to get the direct support slot. I'm like, fuck these guys.
Right.
I was like, who the fuck do these guys think they are rolling up in here? I worked so hard to make this shit fucking dope, and they're going to get the direct support slot. Who the fuck are they? It was fucking McGregor. and I remember sitting there behind the merch booth. I had hoisted Hall & Oates like fabric flag by our merch thing to attract people.
It actually said Hall & Oates?
Yeah, it was the group Hall & Oates.
I know Hall & Oates.
It was like a printed fabric thing. I just remember that. I have a photo of it. I had like a mullet haircut.
I remember that, dude. Your band blew us away. We were blown away by it. And like of course I knew you had a mullet, and of course I knew that you were heavier. Like you were crazy. You were like one of the illest people I've seen.
And I hated you guys.
That's crazy.
I didn't even hear the music yet, but I hated you just for being there.
Right.
Because in my mind, you were getting in the way of this thing that I was like fucking concentrating, like, but what's it called? You focus, like laser focus.
Yeah.
I was like laser focused on making this an incredible opportunity for Downtown Brown, which is hilarious because it was just a local band opening up for a national act, and not even a high drawing national act, like a
looking back at it now, it seems silly to think it was a big deal, but trust me, we had shows like that. You know, for us, our shelter in the DC area was the 930 Club. If you get a chance to open for somebody at the 930 Club,
it's a big deal.
It's the biggest deal.
Yeah.
But now, it just does. Like if I guess I'm a national touring act, and when people open for me, sometimes it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like if you're Two Skinny Jays or whoever I don't know, it just now it doesn't seem like as big as the deal. It's not like you have one show as an opening act and then the world is different.
That's what I thought.
Like I can't think of a band that happened for, you know?
They were called Downtown Brown in
Right.
2003 because we played that show and my world was different after that.
That's funny because I remember hanging out with you. I think we hung out after the show and definitely talking to you after the show and thinking you were cool. I didn't think you had any beef. I don't know.
I hit it well. Let's just get to later on in the story. So we get done playing our set. I don't really remember that well, but I remember sitting and standing by the merch booth, and I still had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. Who the fuck are these guys? And I'm sitting there listening to your set, and I'm like, wow, they're really good. They're really good. Like, I like funk music, so
right,
it was right up my alley. I'm like, this is the funkiest, best shit ever, and it had a horn section,
right,
and you guys were rapping your asses off. And so my girlfriend at the time, she turns around and she looks at me while you guys are playing and she says, Neil, this music makes me want to fuck. And I just remember being like, these guys are cool. Yeah. And then, shortly after that, you and your brother you guys did an acapella back and forth. And you did whatever.
We used to always do that, yeah.
And I just remember being like, this is the best live band I've ever fucking seen.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so that's how I met you. I remember fucking being pissed off that you were there. And then by the end of it, I was like, this is the fucking greatest shit ever.
You know what's cool? First of all, that's you've never told me that before. I didn't know that there was animosity. I totally get it. But there was
nothing personal.
Of course.
Just the fact that you existed was like, what about all the I just had a little fucking bug up my ass about it.
I remember we had a show opening for the Two Skinny Jays in North Carolina of all places. We randomly got to open for them in like the Outer Banks somewhere. And
is there any liquid?
I have water in my fridge. I have gallons of water.
I should have got a water, bro.
We can get some, dude.
But we're in the middle of an exchange here.
Can I
we
pour you a water? Is it easy in the kitchen?
Yeah, there's fresh gallon jugs of water in the refrigerator. Yeah. Yeah, why not?
That'd be great. I'm very sweaty right now. But anyway, what were you saying?
So we got that show because the Two Skinny Jays saw us open for them in North Carolina, and they invited us to go on tour with them for a week. And one of the shows was Detroit. One of them, we definitely did a show in Cincinnati. We definitely did a show in Omaha. We did like 5 shows, and one of them is Detroit. And I say this to say that I don't remember any other band on the entire thing. You know what I mean? On that entire run of shows. I mean, there's hardly any bands, even local bands from Maryland. There's a few, but I don't know. It just says something that me and you are still friends.
It's wild.
All based on this one random occurrence that we happened to play for this band that neither of us really. I mean, I knew them by that point.
I wasn't a big fan. I just knew that they were
great. They were a great band.
It's a fun show, and I just knew that I knew that they were bigger. You know, they had a CD on the same label as 311 because remember there's Capricorn Records.
Yeah.
And then that folded, but they were like one of the only other bands on Capricorn Records. There's like 311 and them. And in the 90s, I'm like, these guys are on Capricorn, so it's 311. That's some huge shit. Like,
well, they had it. They were one of those bands like. When we toured, when my band toured with that band was not as big. They were bigger 5 years before. They were going down in popularity.
Yeah, they were on their way out.
They used to like co-headline with 311 and Sugar Ray and shit like that. They used to do like, fucking amphitheater shows.
Peep the pint glass. Peep that. Peep it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Unintentional flex.
Good. Yeah, here's the flex. But yeah, man. And then I remember, I don't remember like how else the trajectory went, but you guys, the reason we played Peabody's the first time we ever played in Cleveland was because McGregor said we want Downtown Brown. And which was tight because you guys used to do well there. I remember like
for some reason we did well in Cleveland. Like we did all right in Maryland where we were from, mostly because our fucking friends came.
Yeah.
And then we actually started to develop a fan base. And for some reason, Cleveland, we did pretty well. And I think it was just because, like, you know how it is with a show. Like, let's say you go to a show, and especially if you're a teenager and you see a band that you fucking love. And maybe there's 5 other people that are like you. So the next time you bring 5 of your friends, now all of a sudden there's 25 people at the show. And to a band at that level, that's amazing. You know what I mean? To have 25 people at a show and an out of town show, you know what I mean? That's amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good feeling when people know your shit and somewhere else. But I remember I forget who the guy's name was. His name was Andy or something. It was one of the dudes that booked Peabody's because they had an in-house booking staff.
Yeah, he was like the guy that kind of owned the place or managed the place or whatever. His girlfriend was the bartender. You know?
It was definitely not corporate, and it stayed family up until the very end. That venue we ended up playing that venue so many times. Man. But the first time we actually stepped in there, I remember they're like, yeah, we'll book your friend's band, but they put us in the Pirates Cove, which is the tiny little room off in the corner.
I remember it, dude.
And they put us like really early, and you guys were like headlining, so there was like a good 3-hour gap between us playing. But I just remember being like, I was like, what a cool look! Like not only are these guys the greatest live band I've ever seen, one of them, and no bullshit, man, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. Like I was floored, but these guys like want to be our friends, and you know, and then we. We hadn't really traveled much, and so that was the very beginning stages of my traveling music career was going off to Cleveland. And I remember we got invited. You guys invited us to come to Baltimore at the 8x10, and I forget, that might have been 2004 because it was after what year did Scatterbrain come out? When was the election?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
When was the election? Because there was No. But so 4 years before, 2004.
Right? 2004.
Yo, Wax, I think that you should
we
run
were doing
for
a president thing, yeah.
And at that show, I remember you like
the Care Bear Independence Rally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I still have the flyer.
That's crazy.
I have the actual
with the little the flyer's pink.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into my archives, and I'm actually like on the podcast. I'm gonna put a little flyer up in there.
I think I still have a copy.
I got it,
somewhere.
bro. Yeah, because some Care Bear dude was in jail or whatever.
We put so much fucking energy into that show. That specific show.
You were trying to sell out the place. I remember you told me.
We did, and not only that, I think it was kind of like a CD release party, sorta. But we did all kinds of crazy shit. Like I came out with like a Missy Elliott looking thing because it was like a windbreaker suit. Because by the second song, I zipped it off and I was wearing like a suit.
Yeah, because they said...
And I've made a fake like run for president campaign speech.
Because they said, yo, Wax, I think that you should run for president. Yeah. And then you unzipped your Missy Elliott
and
shit.
The horn section were like... Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, and they played... I was there, bro. Yeah. You know, what's funny is Rob D from Grilled Lincolns.
Yeah.
There's a picture of him in the audience.
Yeah.
From that show.
I remember that too.
And he has hair. Because, yeah. I'm going bald too, so I'm not talking shit, Rob D. But
yeah, whatever.
I got a receding hairline. No, I'm just saying, it's like, it was that long ago to where people in the audience, not only did they start their own bands and, you know, and do all their thing, but they look completely different. It's just like that passage of time.
Yeah,
That show was legendary because we drove there. And so my old roommate at the time, he used to snake sewer drains. Like, and we called him a shit pipe cleaner. He's an angry shit pipe cleaner.
Yeah.
Italian dude. And I remember he drove us in the fucking shit pipe van because we didn't have our own van. And we were like, yo, McGregor asked us to play in Baltimore. How are we going to get there? And he's like, we'll take the shit van. So we took this fucking shit pipe cleaning van all the way to Baltimore. It was an 8-hour drive from Detroit. And we were just drinking Coronas the whole time.
Right. Back then, you didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, just drinking Coronas, no seatbelts,
no
seats, shit pipe cleaning fucking remnants all over the floor. I mean, we're just in there. We're like, dude, this is so sick. We're gonna play with McGregor. In the
I remember
hometown.
I remember doing trips because I used to have a minivan with a sliding side door, and for some reason, when you're young, you have this stupid thing about road trips where like you don't stop to piss. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's like, I gotta piss because you're all drinking too, so you'd have to piss like a lot.
Piss jugs.
So people will piss in a jug, and we used to have. Sounds crazy now. Like you'd open the sliding door and dump a jug of Gatorade full of piss out the side. Half of it would land on the car
While it was moving?
Yeah, the whole side of the car is covered in fucking urine.
It's the same thing with vomit.
Yeah,
If you've ever puked out of a moving vehicle, the puke goes all on the side of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Nowadays on a tour, it's like if somebody's like, I got to piss, it's like, cool, we'll stop and accommodate your needs. You know, like
sometimes.
But we also don't drink beer on the ride. Really,
I pee a lot when I'm on tour, dude. So like, I still do the piss jug thing.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem? Do you have a medical thing?
I just when I'm on tour, I'm like pounding water.
Right.
When I went on tour with HR recently, they just did this. Have you ever seen that thing online where it's tour bus invaders, where it's that one YouTube channel that goes on everyone's tour bus?
I've not seen that.
It's a thing. They actually have somewhat of a following, but they actually came out and filmed the minivan we rented for that tour. They're like, here's HR and his minivan and this guy, and then they interviewed me a little bit. I'm like, I pee a lot, you know. So that's kind of how the interview went, but yeah,
that's awesome. I don't know that channel, but I think it would be cool if they do fucking Taylor Swift's level of travel to like the guy who fucking hitchhikes with an acoustic guitar.
Well, that's what they do. It runs the gamut because they interview a lot of bigger bands that have big buses and whatnot.
Right.
But they also came out and interviewed us in HR, and we were traveling in a rented minivan from Enterprise.
Right.
And yeah. Well, I definitely am quoted in the video as being like, I drank a lot of water, so I have to stop to pee about every hour. I was the only driver like legally able to drive the rental because it was in my name.
Right.
So I had to do all the driving, which meant we stopped every hour. So. Because I have to pee. I don't know if I have a medical issue. I used to have an enlarged prostate.
Well, it's like it depends how like it's like do you have to pee a lot or do you not have the ability to hold it, or a little bit of both? You know, I think not having the ability to hold it is more of a medical problem.
I can hold it.
Then again, I'm not a doctor. In case anybody thought I was,
I can hold it, but it's just one of those things where I got to go bad enough to where I gotta pull over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like starts to be a painful thing.
Right.
You know, and then when you pee, it's just nothing. It's clear. It's clear as fuck because you're so damn hydrated. I'm just like mad hydrated on tour. And then when I'm not on tour, it's like, you know, dark yellow.
Right.
Have you ever been to a plant where there's like workers? Like I did this catering gig for like 10 years and we would feed the plant workers.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bathroom, they had these big communal bathrooms that have lockers and stuff because we're talking about hundreds of people per shift.
Right.
That are on the floor. And there's all these signs that say, if your urine is this color, you need to drink more water. And they have a whole like color chart.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I had that in my bathroom.
You ever seen that?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it exists. Like they're pretty much like, yo, if you're pissing and it's dark yellow, like drink some fucking water.
Right. There's definitely things that do that to your piss.
Because I mean, our bottom line is your health. Like we need you to be able to work and not to fall over, else our company would have to pay money to fix
Right,
it.
you can see them having a big meeting, a big corporate board.
We need to make sure
we have a couple people dehydrating, and that's losing us money.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put this out in the guise of health. Let's put out these little signs.
Let's make sure we got the piss color signs in every bathroom. And it's like, yeah,
PC piss color,
piss color, yeah. Dude, we're so PC. We're so
PC culture.
We're so PC piss color culture. I like that. I'm sweating, dude.
You want a towel or something, dude?
No, I'm just gonna sweat it out. We're just gonna go for it. So yeah, man. We met. You got us into some clubs. It was fucking dope. I remember after that Cleveland show, it was snowy as fuck out, and I remember we were partying. It was some like duplex. And we were on the top level, and it was me and Frazier. And like,
what the fuck? I remember. I remember exactly what you're talking about.
We were shit faced, and then it was Mike G, and we were like. we were pissing in the snow and like trying to write our names and shit. It was just like when you're in your early 20s and you're like, hey, you're stupid, I'm stupid too.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's be stupid together, man. And
Yep.
we're just having a fucking blast. It was after that Peabody show. And I remember from the other room, I heard this terrible noise. It was like, and I'm like, what is that? They're like, yo, that's Mike Jones. He fucking snores louder than anyone we know. And were you aware of that? Did you know how loud of a snorer you were back then?
Yeah, people had told me that. People had told me that I snore. I mean, I was a big smoker and drinker, and you know.
What were you smoking back then? Was it you were a Marlboro
medium.
Red guy? A medium?
Marlboro medium. Yeah,
Okay.
the not lights, not red. The one that looks like red but a little bit longer.
It's in the middle.
Not like it's fun. It's not like that's some back in the day shit. Like I kind of like just stopped. You know what I mean? I stopped and start back up throughout my whole life. You know,
that's how addiction works, man.
Yeah.
You stop and you start, and then you go hard, and then you go harder, and then you stop, and then you start, and then you go.
But
hard.
if you drink and pass out, maybe especially after a show, maybe when you fucking use the shit out of your voice, and it's snowing outside in Cleveland, and you're probably sick. You know,
it's dry as fuck. Yeah,
you're always when you're in your early 20s in a touring band, and you're drinking Coronas on the road and smoking cigarettes, and then still doing the show and never ever sleeping. You're pretty much always kind of sick. You know?
Yeah. So I remember that very vividly. I just remember Fraser being like, "You're like, yo, that dude snores loud as fuck," you know, because I'm like, and that guy knows he's in a band with you.
I think you and Fraser were really very kindred spirits.
Were we? I haven't seen that dude in forever.
Yeah, I mean, especially at the time, but even now, really. But like that kind of whole like wild man.
Fraz Dog, I miss you, bro. I'm still alive. Is he still in San Diego?
Yeah.
If you're watching,
he has a
this,
ranch in
what's up?
Ramona, California.
Oh, that's dope, dude.
Yeah.
He does woodworking, right?
Concrete.
Okay.
He does woodworking too. He does all kind of construction shit, but he owned a company that I worked for a while actually that does concrete interior stuff like concrete countertops and concrete fireplaces.
When you and Herbs, what was the cover of the?
That was at his shop.
Yeah, Grizzly Season.
Yeah, that was at his shop.
Okay, that's you all covered in concrete.
Yeah, that was because that was like it wasn't like made up. It was like I just got off work. You know.
You mean that wasn't like specifically for the album?
Yeah, well, we had a concept. We had a graphic artist come in and decide that you know what a good concept would be for this. Pretend you're a concrete worker. Pretend, and we'll cover you in concrete. Put it on your face and put it on your shorts, and we'll give you work boots. You know, it was all made
because
up.
it really translated. I felt like when I first saw that album cover, I was like, man, it seems so concrete, so legit, so legit.
No, that's what the job I had at the time was.
Did Grizzly Season come before the Vibe Versus contest?
It was about the same time, but the Grizzly Season was before it. Yeah, I was just saying on my podcast today, it was kind of funny. I did that Vibe Versus contest, and there was one guy because so many people saw that contest at the time because it was just like online and it was kind of a new thing. People posting like at that time, like posting a video online was like it was like can the internet handle a video? You know what I mean? That's when people still jerked off to stills. You know what I mean?
I remember
and
GIFs.
Then the picture would go down like that when you loaded it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you'd come before you even see a nipple. Anyway, we got off topic there, but I'm saying
I remember
there was one guy that was like a music industry guy that was like, yo man, you're dope. What do you got? Any recorded music? And I was like, fuck yeah, I do. And he was like a hip hop A&R guy from New York. You know what I'm saying? He did like street rap. You know what I'm saying? And I sent him Grizzly Season, and he never hit me back.
But that record's dope. See, but that's the thing is I come from the world of punk rock where it's like,
dude, that record that's my favorite shit that I've done. I said that on the podcast too.
Well, it's fucking great, but because it combined like the McGregor funky elements, like the live band type stuff, and then it had a little taste of like what was to come. I feel like.
And all the dudes from McGregor are, like helped make that album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Fraser plays drums on some of the songs. He's produced some of the beats. You know, my brother obviously, and D-Genic is on there rapping and playing horn. You know? But that album to me is my favorite album that I've done because they're even compared to, first of all, some of the McGregor stuff, I just feel like I didn't know what I was
sitting on, dude. What is this? Oh,
it's a purse.
Yeah. Are you making sure this is on? Okay, cool. You got it.
Some of the McGregor stuff. Not only was it like, I just feel like I was still amateur. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some people listen to Grizzly Season and say the same. But what I like about Grizzly Season is there was no fucking, not even an iota of like, oh, this is so we can blow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was only done for artistic purposes. Me and my brother really didn't think anybody ever would.
You were having a good time with your friends.
Yeah.
And that's what it, in the beginning, that's always what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's not about like, is this going to please a fan base? Is this going to get me to the next level? Is someone going to notice this? It's like, I'm writing music with the people I love, and that's the most pure shit. That when I listened to Downtown Brown's first album, I'm like, this is the most pure shit, because it literally, we didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
We were like writing the most silly shit, and then we were writing some like relatively heartfelt stuff. And we just mixed it all up, and we like, I look at it now, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm like, and it still doesn't make any sense. I look at what I do and I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. This is not commercially viable.
Right.
Like, this shit's fucking weird.
Right.
But back then it's like, I wasn't even able to look at it through that scope. I wasn't able to analyze it like that. I'm just like, we're doing this. I'm making music with my friends. We have a song about mullets, and then we have a song about, appreciating being alive.
Right.
Song about taking a bunch of ecstasy and feeling moist and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then,
I remember all these songs.
Yeah.
Mullet Millennium.
Yeah.
Mullet Millennium, 1983.
It's stupid as fuck.
Mullet Millennium.
But you came out to California. Was that 05?
06 I came to California. So in 05, our band had broken up, and my brother was living in Baltimore, and we were working on music, you know what I mean? In between doing whatever the fuck else we were doing, just being dumb and still partying and having jobs and having girlfriends or whatever the fuck we had. But we did half of the album, the Grizzly Season album, in Maryland, and then we did half of it in San Diego. And then we put it out in 2006.
Because I remember I'd quit another job because I still had this whole idea where it's like, all right, I'm gonna quit my job selling carpet because I'm gonna make the band work.
Dude, I'd quit so many jobs on that same thing. I quit so many jobs, dude.
But I remember getting a copy of Grizzly Season sent to me in the fucking mail, and I was staying with my girlfriend at the time, and she hated my guts. She didn't like my band. I don't even know why we were together. It was weird. She drove me to drink. We drank together. It was a very hatred-filled thing.
Yeah, a lot of times relationships, looking back on them, don't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I do remember. You're about to take the coldest steps.
Right.
I remember driving around listening to that song with her, and I remember being like, this relationship's gonna end. I remember listening to that song, that Grizzly Season song, with her in the car, and just being like, we're gonna be through. But flash right around that period of time, we ended up moving into a different place. And I remember I don't know if I got an email from you. It was before text messages.
Yeah.
So I might have gotten an email from you, or it was a MySpace message, one of the two. And you're like, hey, I just did this verse on this contest, and will you vote for me? Right. Yeah, and I remember I opened it up, and I'm just like, it's, because I knew you at the time. I'd known you for a few years. I'm like, okay, it's Wax being Wax. He's in a car. He's rapping his ass off. It's fucking really smart. It's funny. It's like, this is good. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll vote for you. And then so within that span of time, I got my Grizzly Season CD. I'm voting for you for the Vibe verses, and then, and that blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, that was big. That was big for me.
That was like viral before viral.
Yeah, well, it was like Vibe magazine had a contest where you submit your. It wasn't like, if I remember correctly, it wasn't like YouTube where you upload a video. You had to like send it to some weird shit. Like, it wasn't easy at that time to like videos were too big and shit. I don't know. Like, and it wasn't like you just have a phone and you can do it real easily.
How did you get it to them?
You have to have a camcorder, and then you have to figure out how the fuck to make that file into a computer file. Like, it was hard, it was hard to do.
How did you do it?
But it was right before YouTube. It was probably about the same time YouTube first came out, 2006. I don't remember how I did it, but they had a contest and somebody told me about it and I entered. You know what I mean? I just tried to rap really hard because the first place winner got like $10,000. And I think that they got a record deal or something like that. I got second or like third. I think I got second place.
And I remember in the verse you just say like me and Herbs need this money way more than you, motherfucker.
Right. We were super broke at the time.
Yeah. And you both were in San Diego because you like Eugenics shot that.
Well, that video my brother shot. My brother shot the Vibe Versus video.
Oh, for real? It wasn't.
Eugenics shot the New Crack video.
Okay. I always thought it was okay. So Herbs shot that one.
Yeah.
Is that in a Sentra?
It was in a Nissan Sentra on Fiesta Island in San Diego.
Was that the Sentra you still have? Do you still have a Sentra?
No, I have a different Sentra. I had a Nissan.
But you have a Sentra.
I have one still. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'm not like it's not like I'm. I don't know. When you do this shit, sometimes you're. Especially when you've been doing this shit for a long time and kind of had ups and downs, your financial shit goes up and down. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. I'm all about that. I dig the consistency though. You know, you like got a thing. You're like, I drive a Sentra, and then like years later, I drive a fucking Sentra.
Right now, like the tail light is all fucked up. It's like broken or whatever. And I was walking out of the grocery store today. I was like, man, I really like that. I like that that's fucked up. That feels like my car right
It
there.
adds character.
Yeah.
I had a car. It was a 1985 Dodge 600 sedan, and every day I had to dump transmission fluid in it because it would leak transmission fluid.
Right.
And so everywhere I parked, there would be a red pool of shit on the ground. But I needed to keep doing it because it was leaking. And I didn't get the leak fixed. There was a whole summer where I just dumped a bottle of transmission fluid there every single day, and I was just spewing red shit everywhere. And I remember telling someone, they're like, your car's a piece of shit. And I'm like, my car has character.
Right.
I'm like, it's mine. I'm sweating so much right now, dude.
You want do you want any kind of like, there's paper towels in the kitchen. There's a roll of paper towels.
I can't use, this is a hoodie. It's a hoodie. It's not a fucking jacket.
It's not really absorbent either.
Out here, they call hoodies jackets. Have you ever noticed that? Oh, I got to put my jacket on. It's not a fucking jacket. It's a hoodie.
I've never noticed that.
You've never noticed that? You've been out here for like, what 11 years?
That, with the zipper changes it.
It's a hoodie.
The zipper makes it a jacket.
Are you think this is a jacket?
Yes. A hoodie is a shirt. A hoodie is it doesn't have a zipper on the front. The zipper is what makes it a jacket.
You think this is a jacket?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I wouldn't, if you called that a hoodie, I'd be fine. If you called it a jacket,
I disagree. I respectfully disagree. I'm burping. I'm sweating. This is fucking going terribly. How am I supposed to?
Again, I have like paper towels, dude.
No, I'm good. How am I supposed to be taken seriously?
I don't think you are good.
I'm well.
There's paper towels. There's a roll of paper towels in the kitchen.
I'm gonna get you more water.
Thanks.
It is fucking hot in here.
Everyone, Allie is producing the show. Allie's great. She was on last week's episode, and we had a great time talking about having sex with ghosts.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the place we're staying at Long Beach, we think it's haunted. But
so when you say with ghosts, are you having sex with ghosts, or are the ghosts just there and you're having sex?
Well, the ghost
are they joining in, or are they spectating?
I'm pretty sure the the other day I got really stoned after work, and she was gone, and I did one of those things where you kind of just jerk off and fall asleep.
Yeah.
So I jerked off and fell asleep with my pants around my ankles, shoes tied, everything. I woke up and it was morning. Like I slept through the entire night with just kind of my pants around my ankles. And if the ghost was there, which she thinks it is, the ghost I was like just pretty much spread eagle. Just, I think the ghost had their way with me. We don't know if it's really exists. But anyway, what were we even talking about? I think we're getting off topic. I'm too sweaty.
You think we're getting off topic talking about
yeah.
a ghost having its way with you? I mean, there's not really any such thing as off topic.
Also, well, that's the thing. I didn't want to just be like, so how long have you been playing music for? And what's your inspiration when you're writing a new tune? And what's your writing process? Like, I just want to be like, yeah, remember we used to get fucked up and used to snore a lot. And I remember this chick hated my guts, and I used to listen to your music and think about how I was going to dump her after I quit drinking. And, this is the kind of stuff I want to talk about.
It's fun. Yeah. I mean, I do remember, I guess, I don't know if I still snore a lot. Snoring's a weird thing because you don't hear yourself doing it. You know what I mean? So you have to have somebody else to complain about it
Yeah.
for it to ever be a problem. And I haven't had like a live-in girlfriend in a long time. So I haven't had somebody complain about that. And even the last time I did, I think that maybe she was a heavy sleeper. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you don't have sleep apnea as far as you know?
As far as I know,
Okay.
no.
I really hope you don't, because my dad had that, and it was terrible. The whole time growing up, my mother made my dad sleep on the couch.
Damn.
And yeah, because he had sleep apnea so bad and he snored really loud, but he refused to get the surgery. And then later on in life, we kind of realized that it wasn't just because of the snoring thing, it's because they hated each other's guts. And so it was weird. I would always go to friends' houses when I was a little kid, and their parents slept in the same room and in the same bed. And I was just like, that's weird. My dad and mom don't sleep in the same room. Like I straight up didn't understand why it was different over, you know what I mean?
Well, as a kid, you don't realize that not everybody's like you. When you're a kid, you kind of assume that everybody's life and parents are just like yours, you know? Like I remember, I always bring up like, there's somebody I know from like middle school, right? Who always, like, there's this girl, and she always had like at that time, it was kind of like, it was good to have name brands. Like when you're in middle school, like, oh, she has all the name brand clothing. My dad my dad thought Nikes were the stupidest shit ever. He'd be like, why don't you just buy Kmart? It doesn't have a stripe on it. So fucking what? Especially, I think, looking at it now, it's especially since we're in middle school, we're going to grow out of the shoes. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Makes sense.
My dad's like a Kmart kind of guy. Like he's not a fucking name brand guy. You know what I mean? And I used to look at that girl and be like, how does she convince her parents to buy her all this The Gap or whatever she's, you know what I'm saying? How does she convince her parents to do that? But then I got older and I ended up actually knowing that girl's parents, because I dated that girl's cousin. And once I got to know her parents, like it clicked one day. I was like, wait a second. Her parents wouldn't fucking be caught dead. Wouldn't let her be caught dead with Kmart clothes on. Because they value name brands and looking like you have money and look, you know what I'm saying? Like they would never shop at Kmart because that's looked at as lower or whatever to them. And I was just like, oh, parents are like kids. They're different too. You know what I mean?
That's pretty much the town I grew up in. I grew up in a predominantly white upper middle class suburb of Detroit, and the only reason we were there is because my parents were pretending to have money, because my mom wanted me to. She was an educator. They wanted us to have good schools. Right. And I remember I actually told you this story, Allie, recently, being on the playground in third grade, and Gina Spagnoli. I always remember her fucking name. And
all the names of people that you remember are names like Gina Spagnoli.
Gina Spagnoli walked up to me. I'm a little fat kid. You know, and I got my Kmart shoes on straight up because my parents couldn't afford the Nikes. My parents maybe could afford British Knights, not Reebok. So she walks up to me and she got them dollar shoes. She's pointing at my shoes. She's like, you got them dollar shoes. And I'm just like, I just remember I wanted to kill her. Right. But I just sat there and took it because I was used to that. I was used to kind of taking verbal abuse, you know. And but I'll always remember it to this day. That was in third grade. I was fucking 9 years old.
It's weird how there's certain incidents you'll never forget, and the more that you say things like "I'll never forget that," it cements it even further into your mind that you won't forget it.
Dude, I remember her fucking name.
What was it again?
Gina Spagnoli. If you're out there and if somehow you happen upon this, I just want to let you know, it's like, you hurt my feelings.
Well, your brain when you're in third grade is just this fresh sponge that can just absorb so much water. And like those memories that you make when you have that brand new hard drive are memories that you don't forget.
It was so fast, bro.
Like I never remember people's names, but I remember everybody's name from elementary school. Everybody's fucking name. If I saw a yearbook of like my fifth grade class, I remember every fucking name in there. But if you told me like, hey, you went to a music industry event a year ago, like, remember him? He's the fucking blah, blah, blah. Nope. I'd be like, who the fuck is that? I don't remember his face. I don't remember his name. I don't remember anything.
No, but I remember Nick Vafakis, and I remember I was listening to Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 2 on my Walkman, and I remember he called me fat, and I ran after him, and I was about to beat his ass, and then this kid, he was pretty sharp. He was pretty quick. I had, you know how on a jacket, like a winter jacket, they have little things you can tie the hood on?
Yeah.
He straight up tied the hood on my neck and started strangling me so I couldn't kick his ass.
Damn.
Yeah, Nick Vafakis. If you're listening to this motherfucker, you almost strangled me, and I was in 4th grade.
Vafakis?
Vafakis. And this is funny.
What, like, what? Is that Greek?
Probably, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a hairy dude.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he became hairy in high school. But I remember Nick Vafakis, his nickname when we got a little older was Dickless Cockless. So
Wow.
you got your just desserts, Dickless Cockless, because you tried to fucking strangle a young, fat, Guns N' Roses loving, red cheek Neil Patterson.
I liked Guns N' Roses a lot too when I was a kid.
Dude, that should change my fucking life. And I just
Big
remember
influence on me, and it was also because of the way they were on MTV, the way they looked, and the whole attitude about it. You know what I mean?
it was so dangerous, and it was so far from what was my reality in Northville, Michigan, being just a little white kid. And you're looking at the, like Sunset Strip, fucking, these look like hardened drug
Welcome
addicts.
to the jungle. Yeah.
You're gonna fucking die.
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die. And I remember,
Never thought about that until just now. How
yeah,
funny
you're
that
gonna
lyric
fucking die.
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die. Like, dude. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, that Axl Rose definitely was a big influence on you, on your
Oh.
singing style. Yeah.
He was, people are like, Axl Rose is a dick. And I'm like, yeah, that's why he's great. And like, people argue all the time. Like, he's a fucking asshole. He's like beating up security guards. He's canceling shows. He shows up. I'm like, yeah, that's who he is. And that's why he's great. It's the enigma.
Yeah, who cares about what he is as a human being?
It's the enigma. It's the fact that he is so large in the personification of rock and roll that he can literally do whatever he wants and people will still pay money to go see that fucker. Even if his band doesn't have any original members. I mean, they did the reunion tour and whatnot, but like, yeah, just the fact that he is Axl Rose, he's the type of dude that can do whatever the fuck he wants and people will still just shell out money. He's an icon.
He's an icon. Yeah.
Just like
their career, their heyday was. It seemed like a long time when it happened, but it was really pretty short lived. It was maybe 4 years. They were crazy big, maybe 4.
it was like 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. And by 92, 93, they were done.
Right.
Yep. And yeah, I remember
but they were really like that. They were really like in that era, there was like, bands like Poison and bands like Slaughter and Winger and
Those
all these bands
sucked.
that were like, I mean, sucked is a strong word, but these dudes, like you said, they don't look like pretty. They came out and they look like hardened criminals. They really were kind of like the bridge between hair metal and like
punk.
I guess punk and grunge and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean?
But they all were like,
because they were still like hard rock in the vein. Like their music was in the world Motley Crue was in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
And even Motley Crue is not really accurate to put them totally into the Poison and Winger spectrum, but they were more there.
I would say the Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue are more on their own little ship floating, and then all the other stuff is on a big giant cruise ship, like the Poisons and the Wingers, all the pretty boys who just did it for pop sensibility because that was a big thing at the time. But I feel like what Motley and Guns N' Roses were doing, it was darker, more dangerous, more offensive. Those guys were doing crazier shit. It just like it felt more authentic to me.
Right.
Like, and being a little kid and singing,
definitely Motley Crue too. It was more authentic,
I mean, those guys, what they were singing about, they were living. Like they were, they were all doing fucking hard drugs,
right,
and doing bad things. And when you're a little fat kid in Northville, Michigan, and you turn on the tube that connects you to the rest of the world, and you see, and you're just like, this is the fucking greatest shit ever.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, like that, in middle school or even elementary school, I guess it was them and NWA, And it's not surprising that like Axl Rose used to always wear an NWA hat. You know what I mean? He used to always rock an NWA, and they were just like people who like. I don't know, especially as a kid, maybe there's certain types of kids that are like me and you that are attracted to like people who are A, fuck you attitude, and B, just kind of like promoting like some type of degenerate kind of lifestyle, an alternative lifestyle that is not considered, the direction your parents or society would want to lead you. You know what I mean? Rock and roll.
Well, I think especially for me, because there was a kind of tyrannical presence in my life growing up. There was like, I had a father figure that Everything had to be his way. We had to sit a certain way at the
Was he
table.
a military guy?
He was. He might as well have been military. The way he was raised by his dad. He actually he was sent to I believe it was like a military Christian military boarding school when he was like high school age, like going into college, because he was kind of a degenerate himself.
Right.
But when they sent him there, it changed him, and he became like disciplined, proper. And his dad kicked the shit out of him too. And on top of that, when my dad was at that boarding school, his dad died of a massive heart attack. So they wouldn't even let him come home for his own father's funeral.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, when my dad died, I learned a lot about him. But back to the whole Guns N' Roses thing, I think like that defiance that I couldn't muster myself to have the courage to actually do. I felt like I lived vicariously through people like Snoop Dogg and like all that shit that was dangerous. It was dangerous and it was defiant. And I felt like I could listen to Guns N' Roses get in the ring, and I didn't know it at the time, but subconsciously, like my middle finger was up in the air at one person. And my entire life, even in my 20s and 30s, the person I wanted to say fuck you the most to was a living, breathing person. And his sperm made me. I learned a lot about this in therapy. I don't want to go on the whole my dad died tangent quite yet.
Well, how old were you when your dad died?
It was 2016.
Oh, sorry about that. First of all. Second of all, my question is, the only reason I said that really quickly is because I don't know. You don't seem like you want to. But my question is this:
we can talk like
my question is this. My question is a little different.
Yeah,
it's not about your dad dying.
Yeah.
My question is not about his death. My question is about if he was this kind of dude, and you were the kind of dude that I met in 2003 that had a fucking mullet, crushing beer, shirt off but fat, not like covered in sweat. Les Paul fucking Marshall Stack rock and roll if AC/DC was mixed with like what's that fucking like almost like D Snyder-ish in a way like just crazy like why like when you were in high school and you started to develop your musical persona, especially at that time, what was your dad's take on that? Like what did he think about you doing your art?
He was gone. He my freshman year of high school, before I really started doing the band stuff, because I started doing the band stuff real hard sophomore year of high school. That's when we started doing local shows and making the flyers and doing all that. He already peaced out. My mom kicked him out of the house because he actually like kicked down the door of my sister's room, and it got to the point where he was starting to be physically violent with us.
Right.
Because he always was an asshole. But then it got to when it got to the point where he started punching us and like kicking doors down and fucking just being a fucking monster, my mom like got the balls to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So, yeah. What did he think of me? He thought I was a fucking clown, dude. Like, and it was weird. It was weird because I don't know. Like, it's subconsciously most of the reason why I became such a fucking lunatic is because I wanted to be the exact opposite of who he was.
Right.
Like I wanted to
Right.
like, and it all started like Guns N' Roses was like the first taste of that. But the older I got, the more I was like got into like punk rock and more I wanted to like offend people and rock the boat and really kind of even make people feel uneasy. I wanted to do everything with my art that would piss off a guy like him.
Right.
You know? And what's crazy is when he died, I had to look at everything I'd done in the 15 years I was doing this fucking music thing, and I'd be like, what's the point now? If that whole point was like to prove this dude wrong, to show him that I could be myself, like on steroids, and like my goal was like I'm gonna be successful against all odds, just so I could show this motherfucker that like I didn't take your path, I didn't act the way you wanted me to. And I did it, you know? And, but the thing is you fucking died, dude. So it's like, who the fuck do I have to prove wrong now? You know? And so it got to a point where I had to really start looking at myself and be like, what am I doing this shit for? Like, because the answer is a tough pill to swallow, but it's like, I don't even think I was really doing it for me. I don't even know how much of what I was doing was actual self-expression and me just lashing out for years.
Well, I mean, that is self-expression.
But was it connected to my true self, or was it more just me expressing fucking just like the angry little boy that lived inside me. You know what I mean? Like I had to really think about a lot of shit. It'd be
Right.
like, what? Like, who am I really? You know? Like,
It sounds like you're having in that place you're talking about. There's several different existential crises. Is that how you say?
is that the
Christ?
plural?
I don't know. There's
So
several
many
crises because there's
crises.
because whether like your natural what's the word I'm looking for? Blah 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 towards doing music. Your natural, like when a kid demonstrates that they're a music person. Your natural whatever. It's like, let's just say capacity. Your natural like being drawn towards music in general, being towards writing in general. Forget music, just creativity in general is one thing, and another thing is why, like where it's directed at. Like let's say your dad was an angel. Would you never have picked up a guitar? Would you never have picked up a pen?
I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. Guaranteed.
I know.
Yeah.
You would be a totally different person, and
Yeah.
you might be much more straight edge and much more like your dad, actually.
I'd probably be fucking lame as shit.
Because I feel like people kind of either are like a lot like their father, or they're like trying, like you said, as hard as they can not to be anything like their father. But I'm saying like that's kind of a different thing as to because you still probably would be an artist. In some way,
tough to
shape, or
say.
form, you're a creative dude, you know?
It's tough to say. Thank you so much, Allie, our producer, Hannah. It's tough to say.
I mean, it's really a futile thing to even think about. Like, what would I be if I had a different father? Because you wouldn't be you.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
no, because I mean, so much of like what I decided to do at a very early age was in the developmental stages of my existence, like when he was actually present in my life. And I remember back even being in like third grade and doing stuff in like school plays and getting up and singing in front of people. And I remember thinking that the feeling of being able to entertain people or make them laugh or to be able to garner some sort of reaction from the public, that love and that positive reinforcement for me acting like a jackass was something I became addicted to at a very early age, because it felt the opposite of the lack of a fuck that my dad gave about anything I did.
Right.
Because I didn't play sports, dude.
Right.
Because when he spent most of his time with my little brother, because my little brother was a little jock kid, you know, running around kicking a soccer ball and whatnot. And I just remember when I would like make people laugh on the schoolyard or get up in front of all the parents and like dress in a stupid outfit and sing a song for the choir. And I remember people clap and laugh. And I just remember being like, well, they love me more than my dad does. And I think so much of at least the performance aspect of why I continued to pursue those type of things is because I just wanted for someone to love me as much as I wanted him to love me, honestly. But in therapy, I learned it's like, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. That's hard to do. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that the applause that people hear and the laughter that comedians hear is definitely something that fills this empty hole in their heart that wasn't filled with love from somebody else. But it's like, it's kind of tragic because without that hole in your heart that drives you, you'd be fucking lame. You know what I'm saying? You'd like, you know, sometimes to be awesome.
You just snorted. Allie just snorted. That was good.
To be awesome, you need somebody to fucking treat you badly. You know what I mean? To be awesome, you need heartbreak. You need an empty hole in your heart to fill with fucking the laughter and applause of strangers, you know?
Yeah, and when I was in therapy, my therapist brought up that like you should be thankful that he was the way he was because it made you who you are. And
that's a positive way to look at it, man. You're just like practicing gratitude, even if it seems like something you shouldn't be grateful for.
Thank you, Dad, for fucking making me.
I think your therapist has a point because you can't change it.
No.
It's like anything that happened to you that formulated in you into who you are. At this point, you might as well appreciate it because feeling a negative way about it can't change it. You know what I'm saying? It's like that thing, like the only person it affects is you.
Right.
know?
And ultimately, and just speaking from me, I think I'm a pretty decent dude. Like,
I think you're a
so-
great dude.
well, thanks, man. But I mean, Allie, am I okay?
That's your man.
Allie likes me.
You are a good dude.
But
I
yeah,
mean, you're definitely kind-hearted, compassionate, warm, friendly, nice. You know.
sweaty. Yeah, I'm warm. Literally warm. He's right. You're right, Wax. I am warm. Fucking sweating my dick off. How long have we been rolling for? This shit got deep real quick, bro.
Yeah, but this is the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Well, it's nice because what's that? We're at a fucking hour already?
Well, I started early. We're still
Okay, so we can
sound-checking
keep
and
rolling.
shit. Yeah.
But I've had some like quasi celebrities in the van doing this podcast. We're only 5 episodes in, but it's like I'm not gonna talk to some dude I don't know that well about, when my dad died and this is what it meant to me and this is what my therapist said. But you know what's nice is that I consider you a friend. I've known you for long enough to consider
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
16 years.
Yeah, and so
We always, and it's not like we, like me and you don't hang out all the time, but
we
we
don't really
always
kick
like once every year we see each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll see you. I saw you at the Palmer Square show. I see you tonight. We went on a date one time. We went to the Chinese
that
restaurant.
was cute.
Like that's probably one time a year for the last 3 years. Those were the 3 times we hung out.
Well, you know what's funny is when
And I'll see you on the road sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's funny is when I was living in West Hollywood, I was a 5-minute walk from my best friend growing up, the guy I
Right.
started my first band with, and I stood up at his wedding. You were talking about like one of my closest friends, like the first guy I wrote a song with, like he was on bass and I was on guitar, and the whole 90 days I lived in West Hollywood before I went down to Long Beach, I saw him once, and it was the day before I left. So
Yeah.
I just think when you get a little bit older, and you just you get, I don't know, I don't really hang out with people, man.
I don't hang out with anybody.
I would hang out with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling, like, we should hang out more. I mean, now you live in Long Beach; it's kind of far, but again, like you said, I mean, dude, my first friend in LA that was my best friend in LA lives right down the street. We don't really kick it. You know what I mean? We never kick it.
Why?
But I kick it with my roommate all the time because we live together.
Yeah,
Recently, I've been super focused. I've just been working.
that's good.
That's what's been going on recently.
That's good. You got now. What did your brother tweet? You said, and like what kind of a flex was it? You said it's a monumental flex.
Oh,
no, there's a good word.
Historically noteworthy.
Historically noteworthy flex. Wax put out a pre-album before his actual album.
That tweet is like our language from Grizzly season, all caps, in a historically.
So historic.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
This is a language that doesn't translate to everybody, Neil. This kind of like all caps flexing sarcastically shit, and any kind of weird humor and sarcasm so gets lost on the internet. It's fucking annoying.
So in Grizzly Season, when you say we're the best motherfucking rappers on the planet,
Right.
we're interplanetary. We go to other planets, we're better than them motherfuckers and shit. So when you're saying that, that's just part of the flex language, the tongue in cheek, herbs and wax flex language.
Yeah, I would say so.
But
yeah, he was talking about my album.
it's a historic flex, dude. It is historically monumental,
Historically remarkable.
remarkable.
No, historically noteworthy.
No word.
In a historically
It is
noteworthy
noteworthy.
flex.
Oh god, you guys are fucking funny, man. Yeah, but yeah, so you dropped the acoustic record,
Yeah.
and then in September is ba.
Yeah.
Is that you want people to say ba? Are you when you get on stage when you're touring on that material? You're gonna be
Yeah,
like,
the album is called Bad.
and you're like, yo, this next track is off of the ba album.
Yeah, and you know how it is on a stage. It would be said like the way you said it, it would be said 20 times more emphasized. You know what I mean?
This next fucking song is off the ba album. Like, just like I want to be at that concert.
There's gonna be a album release party here in LA. It's looking like I don't know the exact date, but it's gonna be mid-October. There's gonna be an album release party. And
Is that gonna be the tail end of the run?
No, it's gonna be the first show of the run.
Oh, first show of the run. Okay.
hmm
So the run starts in October.
October and it'll end in December. It's gonna be a long.
Okay, you're
tour.
doing a long haul, doing
Yeah.
nationwide. Are you going to Canada at all?
I'm not allowed to go to Canada.
Oh, why is that? Felony? You don't want to talk about it.
No,
We
it's
don't
just,
have to-
I mean, that's why I just made like a oh shit, we're gonna talk about that thing just because I've told that story on like
Well, I've
last
never
couple
heard that
pods.
story.
the last couple podcasts I've been on.
Well, let's not talk about it then. Fuck it. It's on Wax's podcast. Check it out. What's the link? I'll put the link down for Wax's
A
podcast.
link where you can hear why I'm not allowed in Canada.
We'll put a link down there.
I mean, I could tell you if you want. It's not even an interesting story. It's
Then let's not
basically-
talk. Let's talk
yeah.
about something else. Let's talk about. Oh, let's talk about more like.
You know what I like about you, Neil?
What's
is it's like I don't know. I've always admired. I don't know. It's funny to hear. It's funny to hear you have this epiphany from when your dad died, thinking that you somehow like didn't do this stuff for yourself. Because most people I know that do music, they kind of taper off and don't do it. And you've always kept doing it, and you put out albums and you go on tour, and it's fun, and you've maintained awesomeness since I've known you, you know?
Well, I appreciate that.
I don't know other people that I did music with in 2003 that still tour.
Well, it's called delusion, Wax. You should.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think really what it comes down to is I there's a need to create, and I have these little outlets, and I like fucking writing songs, and I like writing songs with my friends, and I really like recording music, and I like hearing a fucking final version of this idea, because most of the shit just starts up here.
Right.
Like I just remember I was walking around, I was just like, I just want to be cool. Like,
Right,
walking around.
right.
Yeah, and then I fucking,
I just want to be cool.
Yeah.
I just want to be cool.
yeah, it's on the record. Yeah,
I just want to be cool.
it's been like, because we were on tour, we were driving around with Jack Keller, who's sometimes the bass player Downtown Brown, and myself. We took the whole Beavis and Butthead thing,
Yeah.
and just like, that guy is cool.
This dude is definitely cool.
And then we started applying it to people that are obviously not cool. Like, some fucking dude is, like you meet some shitty guy to show he's punishing the shit out of you, and he's like telling you all the stupid stuff, and he's just annoying as fuck. And then he would leave, and then I'd look at Jack and be like, that guy is cool. But he obviously wasn't cool. He
Right.
was annoying as shit. He was
I'm
a
gonna
fucking-
steal that because that sounds like a good tour joke. That sounds like a good tour. Keep it going.
But not
for
just
the
that,
whole thing.
like there was a dude that tried to fight us at a rest stop just for looking his way, and he
Ugh.
looked like Macho Man Randy Savage. And after he was done, like, I'll fucking kick your ass. He gets back in his car talking shit. I'm like, ugh. And then as he's driving away, Jack sticks his head out the window and goes, "That guy was cool." And he was not cool. He obviously was not cool. He was ready to fight,
Right.
But the fact that he was such a douchebag, I mean, that's part of the joke.
And that's one of these things where you live life and you talk to people and have conversations, and then all of a sudden you're walking down the street and a melody comes into your head, and it's the lyrics are all of a sudden filled with some shit that just happened to you, and now you got a song, and now you got to write the rest of it. Fucking, you might tinker around with some of the lyrics and make it a little better and a little more interesting. You might have to write some kind of verses. Then you might end up writing melodies. Then you go into the studio and record it, and it's a whole process. Now you go and play it on the road with your band.
Exactly.
But that's the process of writing a song. You know what I mean? And that's the thing that you don't stop doing
no, it's all
because it's part of you. It's natural.
It's all I really know. But yeah, and I wrote the verses about me because it goes all the way back to ever since I even fucking I bite off you a little bit. I say my high school tenure.
Nice.
I bit that off of what's
My high school
music and liquor.
Yeah.
Music and liquor. But it rhymed. Remember tenure?
Yeah, tenure is a good word.
Tenure is a great word.
Yeah.
And I remember even looking it up. I'm like, how did Wax use this? I just want to put it out there in the ether. I bit off Wax on our new record. Just
Man,
a
that's
tiny, just
amazing.
one word. I used 2 words. 3 words. High school and tenure. I bit 3 words from this dude. So sorry.
Hey,
But-
I consider that an honor.
But the song is just pretty much how, like, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be cool. And even in my most recent relationship, I tried to show her how cool I was. And she told me I was square. Her exact words. She's like, she told me I was the nicest guy she ever dated, and then later on in the relationship, she said what I meant by that was you're the most square guy I've ever dated. And I was just like, oh, because when you grow up a little fat kid, you just want to be cool. You want the Reebok pumps, but you have to settle for the BKs.
Right.
Right. I wanted to be cool. I wanted that. I had that acid wash, fucking black denim. I spiked my hair, big fat rosy chubby cheeks and the glasses. I just wanted to be cool. I had my Joker shirt on. I rolled my jeans, my stonewashed jeans with that little cuff crease.
Of course,
thing.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just wanted to be cool. And then
any pair of British Knights were below that cuff.
They were Kmart shoes. Yeah, below the cuff, definitely, and figuratively and
right.
metaphorically and in real life,
Yeah.
they were below Kmart shoes. Gina Spagnoli's making fun of me, but yeah, I wanted to be cool. And then the second verse is about like even in my 30s. Dating some young girl. She doesn't think I'm cool. And then at the end of the song, it just gets all somber and it's like, maybe one day I'll accept that I'm not cool. And it's like,
now you're in therapy
Yeah.
and you're trying to love yourself.
Exactly.
Your fucking square self.
Exactly.
That's funny. Like the sequel to that song is your therapist telling you that you're not cool.
Well, I think,
and you're learning.
I don't even think it was necessarily the therapist. I think it was just the self-realization. It's like, okay, dude, I can stop trying to be cool. Maybe I'm the type of dude that wears fucking New Balance dad shoes to LA Fashion Week, and that's the end of the song.
Maybe you always have been cool, and there's just never.
The whole point of the song is cool is a subjective thing.
Right.
It's a matter of opinion. Like what one person thinks is cool, another person may think is the lamest shit ever. So you can't really, like my ex-girlfriend saying that I'm square. That's just your opinion. I don't fucking shoot heroin and drink PBR and fucking listen to Days and Days. Does that make me not cool? Well,
I don't even know who Days and Days is.
It's
so
like
I'm saying
it's train hopping like folky punk like kids that don't shower and get stick and poke tattoos, and it's actually good music, but it's very like misanthropic, suicidal.
I know what you're talking
very
about. There's a genre that's in that my boy Farrell listens to.
Yeah, he knows Days
like
and Days.
It's like gypsy punk. Yeah, it's like whatever. What's that shit called when you're on a train and you have the fucking stick and there's a bandana with all your belongings? What do they call those people?
Hobo.
Yeah, it's like hobo punk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
sometimes it's acoustic. Sometimes it's just like a dude with a guitar.
It is. It's well, this specific band has like a stand-up washboard bass, and then or like a wash tub bass. I don't even know what. But and then there's a girl playing the
the washboard.
Yeah, and and so there's a. You know what I'm trying to say. And then there's the acoustic guitar, and then there's a girl on the violin. The songs are well written, but regardless, that's what she thinks is cool. In her mind, I'm square, and maybe I am square, but to someone else, they might think I'm cool because of my squareness or because of my lack of giving a fuck about certain things.
There's also levels to square. You know what I mean? There's people that are ridiculously square. You know what I mean?
I think I'm above that level of square, but regardless, the song exists, and like you were saying, I keep making shit. You keep making shit, and that's what.
Well, that's my point is that you don't veer away. Like it's like for some people they just keep fucking doing it.
Well, we just put out album number 7.
Congratulations.
And dude, and the coolest part about it is I've gotten to the point where I can enlist all these musicians that I really respect. Like I got a drummer from Parliament Funkadelic. I got Norwood from Fishbone on the album. I'm playing with the caliber of musicians I like only dream. Because remember when you're talking about doing that raw shit, when you're just like making music with your friends, and it's a little rough around the edges. It's a little like not as professional, but like this thing I just did is so fucking professional. I have the keyboard player of Leonard Skinner, the current keyboard player of Leonard Skinner. Yeah. And he's doing it, and it's all pretty and sounds like a Fish song because there's all this like twiddly piano in the background. And I mean,
well, yeah, and it's like it's the thing of like, you're 10 years ago yourself would think about these things that you're doing currently and think it was amazing, but the ride is so slow and the hill is such a barely sloped that you don't really always stop and realize how awesome this shit is. Like I've done a couple songs with people that were like heroes to me when I was a kid, and like it was
you
awesome.
did that shit with Rozelle.
I used to go. I used to go to Rozell's shows. I saw him at the 930 Club, the venue that I'm talking about. I saw him there in like 1999 or something like that. G Love is on one of my. I used to listen to him when I was in fucking whatever how old that I was then.
That's so dope.
I
Yeah.
used to love G Love.
Oh,
used to love Rozell.
That album Philadelphonic.
Yeah, that's the one. That's like his main joint.
Love
yeah.
that. Well, that was after I Like Cold Beverages.
Okay. Philadelphonic was the next one. The album that Cole Beverage and Baby Got Sauce, which I think was just self-titled. I think it was just called G Love and Specials. That was the one that like if you played it now, I would know every fucking.
But
lyric.
Philadelphonic came out like right after that. It was like 90. I remember listening to that with Greg, the guy that lives in West Hollywood, in like 99.
Right.
And we just were like, this is so. And we saw him play the Michigan Theater. G Love. Yeah.
And like now I know him, and like the dudes from like Eric Krasno, the guitar player from Soul Live, who I used to worship, is just like my homie, and now he lives right down the street actually.
Yeah.
And like but my point is like, it's just like a slow fucking thing, and sometimes it doesn't always feel like explosive when things happen. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you're kind of working with your heroes. You know, you're touring with legendary dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's kind of mind blowing. And when you get so caught up in it's very easy to get caught up in like the numbers. Like we're drawing X amount of numbers, we're getting X amount of views, I'm making X amount of money. Sometimes you really got to take a step back and realize that it's like, dude, if 15 years ago I would have told you that like this dude would be managing you and you'd be making music with these people and you'd be playing shows with HR from Bad Brains and stuff like that. It's like, I can't even wrap my fucking head around it. But.
And even if you had 5 times the numbers, the trick with numbers is you would be wishing you had more. You'd be like, yeah, but why don't I have as much as they have?
Does that happen to you?
All the time.
Yeah.
You never really look down and think about people who are looking at you and thinking like, I wish I had what he has. You're always looking up, be like, fuck, like I wish I had what they had.
What's that line you got about, I know musicians on the ground floor looking up saying, what the fuck are you sad for?
Yeah.
When I listen to that.
Looking up at me like, what the fuck you feeling down for?
What the fuck you feeling down for? When I listen to that.
Motherfucker, I'm at UPS working wearing them brown shorts, yeah.
When I first heard that, I was like, that's me, you know?
Right.
Because, I mean, you're looking up. And definitely like your online presence and you found success through YouTube and you have that fan base, you know, but I just remember it's like, I've totally related to that.
It's funny too, because even for my shit, like I had a bigger thing. I had a bigger, like my tours and shows, they're all smaller. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to do my CD release party at the Mint. I used to fucking sell out the El Rey. It's like goes down like the way Two Skinny J's was, you know? I'm trying to fucking build that shit back up. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of in a positive place where I'm seeing it like, oh, this has potential. But my point is like the way that you might have looked at like, damn, he's doing this. I look at people that are doing better than me, wishing that I was doing that. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of people that used to open for me that now are way bigger than me.
You had Andy Pack on song. He's like,
that's my homie. I mean, look at him, dude. He sold at Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean?
That's wild.
He was my drummer for Lollapalooza. I paid him a couple $100. You know, he used to open for me on tour, and I knew then. I mean, he's special.
Supremely talented.
He's special.
Yeah,
he's a special dude. Yeah. And it's like,
how do you combat letting those thoughts get to you? Because that's what I need the most help with. And what I've been doing lately is trying to, if I post something on social media, I walk away. I've been trying to do that lately. Yeah. But
social media is the worst one. It's like it's all numbers. You know.
I have a hard time. I had to delete the Facebook app from my phone because
I did too. I deleted Facebook and Twitter from my phone.
What I found myself doing is I would post something and then I keep checking back on it, see if people are vibing with it, see if people are commenting, see if people are feeling it. And it's like I like if you were to accumulate all the time I spend looking at my fucking phone at A, what other people are doing, and B, are people fucking feeling what I'm doing and caring about it for some reason. Like, I mean, I care what my friends are doing. I want them to be doing well. But like when you have like on Facebook, I have like fucking all these people I don't even fucking know. Like, how did I even become friends with these people? Because, you know, when that shit first started, I'm like, okay, I got to get this out to as many people as possible. I'd meet some stranger, add them on tour, you know. So, but then, you know, flash forward fucking 8 years later and you're just bombarded with like all these people you fucking barely know and what they're doing. And you find yourself just flipping through that. It's like, why am I doing this?
It's a waste of time.
Why am I doing this?
It's the number one time waster for me is various type of social media. Twitter was worse for me with time wasting, but with the thing we were talking about earlier, when you're looking at numbers, like they all can be bad, you know, especially because people make their shit seem amazing because that's what it is. If you're promoting yourself, you know, this narcissistic thing that we do, this entertainment shit. Like if you look at somebody's Instagram, they're just promoting themselves as if they're the shit. You know what I mean? And if you see somebody that has, and the numbers are right there, you know what I mean? If you have an X amount of followers and they have 20 times that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, if you had double what you have, they'd still have 10 times more than what you got. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
There's people that have 10 million followers that are looking at somebody with 20 million followers saying, fuck, why can't I be more like, you know, Kardashian or whatever the fuck, whoever has 20 million.
I'm really glad that you said that because I feel like every time I talk to someone on this podcast thing, I gain a little bit of, like, because when in my third episode is the lead singer of this pretty prominent UK punk band that a lot of people really love. And he told me, he's like, the question I asked him, like, what do you do when you're like so laser focused on doing one thing, like for years and years and years? You're like, I got to make this work. And that thing for me was this band. I got to make this band work. And he just straight up says, like, well, you got to have something else or you're going to fucking go crazy. And it just like smacked me in the face. And I'm like, what else do I have? You know, what do you do when you're like obsessed with one thing? And but I'm really glad he said that because it gave me a chance to really think about it. It's like, what else do I enjoy doing? Why don't I do that more? Why don't I fucking step out of this crazy predicament I put myself in? And then hearing what you just said, talking about, you know, people looking up.
Well, it sounds like this you being a podcast host is going to be very therapeutic for you, you know?
It's really giving me a new sense of purpose, honestly.
I think this podcast is going to be like a real unraveling of your character.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, even
it is Mark Maron like in that way. Like Mark Maron has learned a lot about himself from doing that podcast.
And he's one of the people I'm trying to emulate as far as this is concerned. Because I don't want, there's a lot of content where it's just like, oh, and then they're like, so I'm fucking this bitch and I'm eating out the stripper's ass and stuff. Like there's a lot of like kind of bro-y types of, I want to get into, I don't want to be the podcast that people are like, this is like super offensive. I want it to be real. I want it to be genuine. I want the guests to be interesting. I want them to have stories to tell. And yeah, like you're absolutely right. A lot of this is therapeutic for me because I want to have people on the show that I could actually fucking talk to about myself as well, and we can have conversations. I'm learning here, you know. I'm just a human being, and I'm trying to figure this shit out. So, yeah, I'm sweating my fucking ass off.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
To everybody watching this part, it's not just that it's not. Neil is just sweaty in general, but it's also that it's hot in here because my air conditioning is broken.
It's fine. Well, not only am I becoming unraveled through this podcast, but I'm becoming unraveled, just like disheveled. I'm pretty moist right now.
You walked in here shoveled.
Yeah, shoveled. Now I'm disheveled. But yeah, that's. I don't know. One of my bass players, my old bass player, said that I should have done this 3 years ago, and he was really pushing me to do it. And the first episode I did, I sat on it for 6 months. I didn't want to put it out because I talked a lot about. It was just me. It was like the kind of Bill Burr, like just ranting, and I told him pretty much my whole life story in an hour, and I was just like, no one's gonna fucking care about this, and I put it out and. It like people were like, dude, I really relate to this. I got a lot of like DMs about it, and it's
that's
small.
awesome, man.
It's small, you know. Everything I do is small, but
Dude, everything, you know, as corny as it is, as corny as it sounds, like if you affect one person, you know, isn't that worth it? You know, isn't it worthwhile?
Well, and am
I think
I
she's signaling to you.
cards full? Okay. Anything you want to plug before I stop sweating on your couch?
Yeah, man. I got an album that just came out called the Acoustic Monday album. It's just all a dude and his guitar kind of stuff. There's a couple stuff beyond that, and then I got an album coming out on September 16th called Bad. I said it kind of weak right there, but it's like the sound that a sheep makes. You know what I mean?
How's that
And,
spelled? BAAA, or is there an H in
It was
there?
originally called the Bitch Ass Acoustic Album. That was so it's 3 A's.
Okay.
But now I kind of just like, I was thinking about just having different acronyms for it, like Basic Assortment of American Anthems. You know what I mean?
I like that.
Because it's not really, it was going to be an acoustic album, but then it's not anymore. And I just put out an actual acoustic album. So now I just call it that. And I'm thinking of it kind of like, you know, kind of like Stairway to Heaven, man. It means something different to everybody. You know what I mean?
It's on, how it affects you. So you started off with Bad being the acoustic album, but then it kind of morphed into like more of a produced thing.
Yeah, well, you know, what if you have acoustic guitar, but then there's also like a million drums and synthesizers and basses.
not really
and it's
acoustic
not really
anymore.
acoustic anymore. Yeah. So the idea, like the word acoustic, makes people think it's just like unplugged, a guy like singer songwriter folk shit. So it just seems weird to call it acoustic when it's kind of not, you know.
Did you?
But if you listen closely, with the exception of like one song, like it's all based on acoustic.
It all
shit.
began. As,
There's acoustic guitar on all the songs. You know what I
So
mean?
did it all start with just a click and?
There's acoustic guitar on the song, all the songs, but that'd be like calling an album a hi-hat album, because there's hi-hat, because you know what I'm saying, because there's hi-hat on every
Yeah, I'm thinking
song.
about putting out an album with hi-hat on every song.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
You should do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fucking revolutionary. This song has hi-hat on it. Check out this next one. This next one's got more hi-hat. It's got that cool trap hi-hat on it. Well, so is there any overlap as far as the song choice?
Yeah, there's a couple songs that are on both.
Okay, and so on the acoustic Mondays, it's like more stripped down you in the backyard.
It's just me and a guitar, yeah.
And then you're gonna have like when the actual album comes out, there's like a more produced version of.
Yeah.
So how many of those tracks is there an overlap? Like a few, two,
Four.
three, four. Cool.
4. Hang Glider, Better Than Normal, Good Feeling, and the other one that I just thought of in my head, When I Am Gone.
And
4 songs.
and the
on
acoustic album is streaming right now on like everywhere, Apple Music, Spotify.
Yeah, Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify. It's on YouTube. It's on Deezer and a bunch of other ones that I don't use. Tidal.
What did you said? It's on Deezer, and then in parentheses, you're like whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah.
I thought that was.
But the
fucking
thing is, every single one, like there'll be somebody that is like, is it going to be on Deezer?
Yeah.
Somebody listens to all these things.
It's
you
like
know?
if you don't include it, someone's gonna be like, "Why is Deezer not in the mix?"
People listen to Deezer the way that people like wear an off-brand clothing or something. You know what I mean? They like, or the way that somebody, like back in the day when people would like Sega and some people like Nintendo, but then there'd be like your one guy be like, I like TurboGrafx 16.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna be like,
Well, I'm more of a TurboGrafx. I'm more of a Bonk's Adventure type guy.
Deezer's the TurboGrafx 16 of
Deezer is the fucking
digital platform.
Splatterhouse equivalent of music streaming services.
Mhm.
I like that.
But people listen to it. I don't know.
Well, you might as well put it up on there if Deezer is a thing. If people are Deezing, people be Deezing, dude. Yeah, I guess we should cut it because our DSLR ran out of camera. We're just dealing with this guy now. Battery's about to run out. My girlfriend hates me.
Well, cool, man. It was good. I don't know if you have any kind of sign out thing you do, but it was fun, dude. I'm glad you had me. I'm glad to have you up in my house, in my space.
It's fucking dope, dude. I feel real bad. I sweated a lot on your couch, but I think
It's okay.
You get a little Febreze and
It gives you character.
Yeah, that's what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, this car's a piece of shit, but it's got fat guy sweat all over it. It gives it character. So you plugged everything you want to plug? Acoustic album?
I think so.
Going on tour starting in October?
October of the United States of America.
CD release party at the Mint
I believe so.
on Pico.
It's on Pico.
I
yes.
played there.
Yeah, it's a great venue.
I like it. It'll be dope. I want to go. If you need a fucking opening band, let me know.
I will.
I know these guys. Well, fucking A. All right. Thanks again, man. I'm super sweaty. The caffeine's wearing off, and we're gonna call it. So thanks for tuning in. Peace, motherfuckers. Yeah. What is that? 1, 2, 3.
Sup. Yeah.
Sup. All right.
Peace.
1, 2. Could you not mouth it? Sup. All right. Peace. Sup.
All right, y'all.
Bye bye.